Hey everybody, it's Nathan from savagelandsnews coming in this time with an extra special guest, Pedro, all the way down in Brazil, who just got second place on Rhinar in the Rio Battle Hardened event. So everybody give him a round of applause. This guy's a savage. This is not the easiest meta to take Rhinar into an event and do well at all. So how you doing today, Pedro?
Hey, thanks, Nathan. It's a pleasure being here. Every Rhinar player, I think, watch your videos because we we miss more content about Brute because people always look into the meta heroes, and yeah, always good to have someone talking about these other heroes.
Yeah, man. It feels even better to do well in events with a bad hero, right? Yeah. Cuz that means you earned it. You got second place and you got second place on one of the hardest heroes to play currently right now. Not you know what I mean, right? Not a this is not Reinar's meta. So that's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. How many people were in this battle hardened?
We had only, I think, 68 people.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it happened only 1 month after the Nets, so a lot of people had like spend money to travel into São Paulo to play the
Yeah.
Nets, and it was they announced the Battle Hardened right after the Nets, so most people don't have the time to plan the trip to Rio.
Hmm.
So yeah, and yeah, there was 68 person
It's
playing,
pretty
and I
still
was the unique Rhiner at the
were
event.
you the only one?
So yeah.
So, what did the meta look kind of standard? A lot of Lexis, a lot of Dromais, a lot of or what's the meta down in São Paulo like? Or not São Paulo, sorry, Rio.
Yeah, we kind of like to say that Brazil is the land of Dromais. People love Dromai here,
Ooh,
and yeah, I hate losing to Dromai.
me
So
too.
and I love Reiner, so I felt like Reiner could be a good choice for
Hmm.
this the Brazilian meta. Um, I played as Reiner as well in the Nets
Okay.
because my I was playing as with Icelander, and I play one road to nationals as Viserai.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I loved Reiner, and after the desk till down with the new headpiece, I was discussing with some friend from Rio. He also loves Reiner. It's VH, his name,
Mm.
and he shared his thoughts like using sensor some kind of new stuff like could match the curve like
Oh, interesting.
because we play a lot of two cost attacks, so sensor could fit there, and I thought that interesting and start playing. I was beating even Lexis, so
Mm.
it was very exciting. And because Brazil has a lot of Dromais and Bravos, some
Yeah.
dashes, I thought that would be a good choice for the Nets.
Oh, for sure. That's a good
And
meta. Yeah.
yeah, and I ended up the Swiss at first. I won. I didn't lose any match of
Wow.
CC. Yeah, I conceded one to my teammate, and I decided to bring Ryan to the Battle 100 again because I thought that in Rio would be much more Dromais than the Nets, but it ended that I faced the Dromai only in the top four.
Oh no.
Uh, yeah, but yeah, it worked, and I'm feeling like the Reiner is better than everyone thinks that he is right now.
I
Like the
agree.
headpiece is absolutely good. I don't like to say it, but maybe it's the best card in the game right now.
Do you think Reinhardt's the best hero in the game?
No, not the
Oh.
Reiner, but the Scalding Flashback is
Oh, that card's crazy.
definitely the best equipment of the game.
Yeah, that card's nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah. You can get away with a lot with that card. It's so good. So you
yeah.
had quite the successful two tournaments in a row, right? So not losing a game of Swiss is pretty insane, right? And I took a peek at your list. It does have some interesting choices that I want to ask you some questions about. But real quick, before we dive into your list, how long have you been playing Flesh and Blood?
Yeah, I just looked at fabtcg,
Uh-huh.
and my first armory was on October 25 last year. So
Wow.
almost 1 year
One
of
year
thing.
anniversary. That's sick.
Yeah, and I started playing casually,
Hmm.
and like my the community here in Florianopolis is super like I don't have words to describe. Like we have a lot of good people here, always helping each other,
That's nice.
and they invite me to play the pro quest that was happening would be happen like in a month, and it was a 6 hour by car from Florianopolis,
Wow.
and that uh, lighted up my uh, desire to play competitive. I played that tournament as Rhinar as well. I copied the call-in list, the guy that won the call-in at Worlds, I think. Yeah,
Chandler Toe?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Shanderto, yeah.
Chandler's list is, yeah, good list.
And I got top eight. I lost to a fight. That's a terrible match, and I lost for from Gay that plays here in Florianopolis. But I was super happy that I got top eight in my first tournament
That's amazing.
and playing as Reiner. That was underdog. Like
Yeah,
no
right?
one was expecting to see a Reiner in top eight.
That's awesome. Wow. So yeah, you're on the big things already. I mean, so you picked Rhinar pretty early on. What is it about Rhinar? Like why do you play him still?
Yeah, like when the game launched in Brazil, it was 1 year ago as well too. It was really tough to get cards here.
Okay.
Uh, we have a lack of uprising box that was the set,
Hmm.
the launching set, and but I was able to get the Rhino cards, but most of part of them. And but like it was a mix of getting the cards and like the hero.
Hmm.
I don't like to lose, but in Reiner was not in a good spot, so I like the hero, but I was seeing that he was a weak hero to play, and then I saw this calling win, and I thought that I could perform with this deck. So I started testing and winning on Talishar, on
Yeah.
hearing my armories with playing, like testing with my colleagues. So yeah, it was this mix of like liking the hero and have access to the cards.
I like it. I like that answer. It's like it's what I had, and then now I like him. That's a good
Exactly.
answer. All right, so I mean, 1 year anniversary playing this game. You've got Battle Hardened top eight or finals, right? Top eight and finals. You got your Pro Quest top eight that you mentioned. You know, now you're seeming like you've got some consistency going on in your tournament success at this point. So, like, what's your next goal in Flesh and Blood? Like, what's the bar you're trying to set for yourself?
Yeah, I definitely I need to win a gold foil. Yeah, I played a Pro Quest yesterday. I went to the same city, like 6 hour by bus. Uh, it was a really tough trip. I'm super tired today because I
Oh no!
arrived 6 a.m. at my city and had to work. Uh, and I got the top eight, lost top voting. Yeah, it
Oh,
was
brutal,
terrible game for me.
brutal.
Yeah. Uh, and yeah, I really want
You
to
know,
get a gold foil in my hand.
there's gold foil flesh bags that just got released, right? I saw somebody
Yeah.
open one. I have to go win an event now because I need one. I need it. It's the only gold foil Rhinar card I don't have right now, so I have to go earn
Ooh,
one.
yeah. I can imagine how beautiful it is
It's probably the
because
most
it
beautiful
doesn't
card
have
ever.
the extended art, so the gold foil would be the most
Yeah, we got kind of
beautiful.
gypped
Yeah.
on that, right? We got a little bit. Wait, hold on. I have to show you my stack. Oh, baby. That one.
Ooh,
That's a Bone
Sport
Vizier.
Visor.
Bone
Yeah.
Vizier. It's the worst card of all time. I got Gambler's Gloves, gold foil.
Gambler's Blood. Ooh.
I got the Romping Club and the Scabbies, baby.
Ooh.
You're on your way. You're
This
doing.
Scab rolls only 6.
No, I've never brought them to an event. I've never used my gold foils before. I'm afraid that if I bring an all blinged out Rhinar, I'll lose immediately. You know? I don't want to be that guy who has like a $10,000 deck but can't win, you know? I don't want to do
Yeah, but yeah, it's like it's nice to bring all this
that.
stuff because
I
it shows your love for the hero, and
I
no
try and
one
make
loves him, right?
I try and make my Rhinar decks as like terrible as possible, you know, like the mismatching cards, the sleeves are kind of dinged up and stuff because I feel like it's more brutish, you know? It's like
Yeah,
it's more
it's
aggressive.
a way to see.
So you have in the top 4 did you get a PTI invite?
Yeah,
You
the
did, right?
second place. Yeah,
So you're going to go this means that you're going to go fight at a bigger event, right? So we're going to see you at Nationals, or we're going to see you at Pro Tour.
yeah. I'm going towards
Oh,
already buy my fight tickets.
in
Gonna be
Barcelona?
there. Yeah, yeah. I qualified in the Nets Brazil.
I was thinking about
So
I'm still thinking about going. I haven't bought my flight yet. I'm thinking
yeah,
about it.
Barcelona, the Spain is beautiful.
It
I
is
think
beautiful.
it's
It's just
worth traveling there.
I would only go for like 3 days. So it's a
Oh,
lot of flying for just the weekend, you know? All
yeah.
right, maybe I'll do it and I'll see you there and we can hang out. And I'm going to run your list because your list looks awesome. So you have any shout outs you want to do real quick before we dive into your list?
Um, don't think so.
No?
I what do you mean?
Anybody you want to say hi to? Anybody you want to thank? I mean, we dropped your social media below. You guys can find them on Twitter, right there on the screen right now. Go there. You can find them. Ask them some questions about the list after this. I'm going to invite him to the savagelandsnews Discord server, so you guys can probably bother him in there too. But yeah, you want to dive into your list?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. All right, so here we are with his beautiful list in front of us. I will put this in the description below, along with all of his other information and anything he wants to share with you guys. But this is an interesting Rhinar list, and I have some questions. And you're actually onto some tech that I know was being tested by a couple other established groups of individuals. So you snuck your way into some greatness, I think. But well, let's start with your equipment, right? So one interesting thing to me is that it's a Fendal Spring Tunic list only, right? So there was no cross strap in this list. So what's your explanation for tunic only?
Yeah. I was thinking about that
Mm-hmm.
during my ProQuest trip because uh, the hardest mats for Rhinar are the aggro mats.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure of using unique only tonic.
Yeah.
Uh, I still need to improve this list. I think
Okay.
probably using the hard cross. I never remember this
Heart and
the
cross
name of
strap.
this card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, would be better because sometimes you for blood rush you draw 2 reds and this can
Yeah.
save you like hitting with 2 claws and the attack, and all you need on those mats is to present a lot of damage
Yeah.
most quickly. So yeah, probably I had times that I had to set the blood rush on the arsenal to wait for the trick counter.
Yeah.
So to be sure that I will have a good turn. So probably I will try to add the new chest beast for this for my list in the future.
Yeah, I go back and forth all the time because like I'll run heart and cross trap. You can pop off whenever you want, really early. You can even go for something like really gross, like a savage beatdown kind of blood rush, and then you use it, And if you don't win the game fast enough, I always miss Tunic because then you miss out on like the one blue two, the one blue scabs plays, right? You pitch a
Yeah.
blue Tunic, 6 attack, or whatever. And you miss out on some like, even against like Bravo and stuff like that, the amount of times I'll use the Tunic resource just like to double claw or throw 3 more damage in. Um, so yeah, it's a hard
Yeah.
one for sure. It's a hard one.
And for this list that I have a lot of one cost attacks like Sensor and Savage Feast, or
Hmm.
even the Pummels.
Hmm.
It's the Tunic is so good for this card. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not 100% sure,
yeah, that's
but
hard.
I need to test more to be more to be more confident about this choice.
Yeah, I agree. I go back and forth. I like both a lot. So it's a gambler's gloves list. Tell me why you like gambler's gloves more than skull crushers.
I don't think I need to explain that
Yeah,
because
you do. You know how many people yell at me for this? So many people tell me I'm wrong on this. So many people tell
yeah,
me.
like it's one block and you can you can active your scab skin if you don't have gambler's gloves. So I think the rule number one on Rhinar is not active scab skin if you don't have gambler's glove because it's too risky. Even if Gambler's Glove sometimes it's very risky. You roll a one, and
Yeah.
you get really scared if you roll another one. You will
Oh, it's the
be
worst feeling.
in a
That
very
first
dangerous
one,
loss.
you pick up the dice the
Yeah.
second time. I don't know. I have like a whole tradition. I'll pick the one up and I'll put it away. I'll pick a brand new dice and I'll like look at it, and I'm like, you better not do this to me. It's the
Yeah.
worst. Okay, so yeah, gambler's gloves, totally agreed. It's a claws list. There's no club in here. Scab skin leathers because you can't do anything else but use this. Scowling flesh bag only, which I think is fine. I'm on the same. I only sometimes care about this with like, I think the only two heroes I'd sometimes rather have crown on is probably Bravo and Dromai. But
Yeah.
even then, this is still pretty strong.
Yeah. Against the Bravo, I'm not sure about that because you can like block 8 with that. I blocked 8 a lot of times with that against Bravo. They play a Zealous Bounty with only one card on hand, and I just throw the Scalding Flashbang and
Ah,
just
true. Yeah,
I
true.
prevent the Anodos and
Yeah.
the 2 blocks so I can count as 8.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but against Dromai, probably it would be better Providence, but I at this list I don't have room for
Yeah.
another card.
That's the
Yeah.
problem. Yeah. Makes sense. I totally agree though. This is the one I picked over Crown of Providence too. It's just stronger, right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then your final interesting choice, beaten trackers here. So you've got your arcane barrier package, but you also have beaten trackers. So when are you really using this?
Yeah, bittering trackers I use against wizards.
So you use this against the wizards?
Yeah, against the wizards, Dromai, and Runeblades.
You use it
Because
against
if
Dromai?
you don't have, yeah,
Why?
I started using that because uh, at Nets I played against 4 Dromais
Okay.
or 3, and Tomiotai hit my scab skin every match.
Oh,
And I ended up looking to my gambler's gloves that I didn't use, and I felt so dumb that I was thinking about bringing the no rune gloves because sometimes the
yeah.
burden all is a win condition for Tomai,
Yeah.
and like if Tomotai breaks the gambler's glove is fine, but I will have this guaranteed action point for Savage Feast or something else.
Okay.
So
That kind of, yeah, it makes
it's
sense.
used to close the game against Romine is it's very powerful.
Hmm. I like that. That's interesting. I like that. So that's all of the equipment. And then getting into your main board, you have 51 cards in the main board, and it's you have 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14. You have the standard perfect 15 yellows that everybody seems to be on at this point in time, and they're basically all the same yellows, right? And then you have 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 blues. Yeah. Okay. Um, I guess my questions out of the blues. What do you think of Dig Up Dinner? Because I've been using this card a lot more recently, and I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I
Yeah,
kind of don't
like
like it, but I kind of like it.
this card is like it's amazing against Dromai. It's super powerful. Sometimes you use one to pop. You can play this to get back 3, 6 attacks. You heal 3 life.
Yep.
Against Bravo, sometimes if you are going to fatigue,
Hmm.
you can play this as well. So against those matches that I think it can take longer than usual, I like to don't block with this, using most for pitch,
Yep.
to have a safeguard to bring back some attacks.
Another interesting thing you can do. So if you draw this on turn one, and your opponent goes first for whatever reason, you can block 9, hold this card, draw back up, and then play it and go up to 43. it's like
Yeah,
it's kind of dumb, but you can do it. It's kind of fun.
yeah, it costs one. It's like for Rhinar, it's perfect. Blocks 3, cost 1, it's blue.
Yeah.
If you don't use that, we will use some blue that intimidates only.
Yeah.
It's good, but I think this can save you more than the other card.
Yeah, I agree. I've gotten out of some weird fatigue situations with it.
Yeah.
Hold the line. You like this card enough to run 3 of them. So, how did
Yeah.
this perform for you?
Uh, I didn't like I it active the 3 damage prevention like few times,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like this is extremely needed against the aggros like Art of War or Tree of a Kind,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps you to stop the on-hit damage from Lexi.
Yep.
You can block 3 and preventing 2, then block 3, prevent 1 against endless arrows. So it's very helpful to slow down the game. So, and because you have most of your cards blocks for 3, uh, having this block 2 is not so painful. And the benefit by triggering the 3 damage prevention is brutal.
Yeah, and it's like one of our. It's also you're able to put this card in your arsenal, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but Rhinar really doesn't have blue cards that can be put in his arsenal. So like barraging beatdown is probably the only exception to that rule. Like I'll put this in my arsenal, fine.
Yeah,
Maybe warmongers, but like you're not putting a wrecker romp in your arsenal, and you're not putting a wrecking swing in
exactly.
your arsenal, unless you're like planning on killing them with it, you know. So this is one of the only blues where if you like really get really unlucky, you can just put it in your arsenal and it blocks 2, and it's like that's better than this.
Yeah, and because it's a reaction, you can sometimes stop some attack to hit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the cats, you can play in ancestral empowerment. You can throw this and stop the on hit effect.
yeah, for sure.
Against Dorinthia is also good because sometimes you block for 6 and they play like +2 and you just throw the hold the line and stop the turn.
Yeah,
So I love this card.
yeah, I agree. I think Reinhar's blues are pretty meh. So it's like it's either you're gonna run hold the line or you're gonna run like clearing bellow.
Yeah,
It's like it doesn't matter,
exactly.
you know. And then you have one copy of Sand Sketch Plan. Uh, did you ever use it?
No, like I use only for block, uh,
Yeah, I never used
and
it.
I play at the PTI event and against an Icelander, and I'm so used to block with this card. I never think about playing that. And on turn 1, I drew 3 cards, and I was playing with the beaten trackers.
Yep.
So I just hit a command conquer by pitching Sand Sketch, and then I played. Why I didn't play the Sand Sketch? I could get 2 action points and intimidate. So yeah, I'm not. But like the the like the spots that you can play this card is minimal. So you will only use for block.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree, man. Like I go back and forth. I'll put it in my list, and then I'll take it out and I'll put it in my list. the problem is I never ever use it. And so I actually was in a game one time where I played it and I was really excited and then I didn't do the math right and I ruined my turn. And I was like, "Oh, okay. I need to take this out of my list." Just a
Yeah,
detriment.
and because you don't play, it's not automatically like
Yeah,
the
my
feeling
brain
of
wasn't like patterning. I don't know what to say there, but yeah, like
when you are tired after a long day of playing.
yeah.
It's not easy to play this card.
I can't wait for this next set to come out because like this is the truth. You know, every single Reinhardt player I talk to, every single one of them who's ever won an event, done really well. You know, you're this is your third tournament in a row of crushing it. And we're basically all like, yeah, it's like these 15 blues because I mean these 15 yellows because why not? And then you know, whatever blue goes in there. I've never used this one before, but it blocks three. You know, like this is the world that Rhinar players live in, where it's like these cards from here down, that doesn't matter. They could be anything. As long as it says, I mean, Beast Within maybe is strongest card, Blood Rush obviously, but it could be any blue or any yellow that blocks three and has this number on it, and we don't care anything else about it. You know, it's crazy.
Exactly.
But the reds, we also don't have that many good reds. But I mean, obviously, you got the big boy in there, swing big. You got Skullcrack, which has now become one of my favorite cards. I when this card first came out, I was so mad. I thought it was terrible. I didn't understand why I'd want to put a red in my deck that does nothing. But I love this card now. What's your opinion?
Yeah, I like that card too because it's a two cost card,
Yep.
and if you discard it, you gain an extra resource.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a Beast Within replacement,
Yeah.
but it's different because it's hat and cost two. So sometimes if you draw a Beast Within in a Blood Rush turn
Yeah, it's not bad.
after discarding it, yeah, it's not bad because it's a yellow. But if you draw just three cost cards, you can play the attack. So sometimes you miss drawing some two costs. So yeah, not the best cards for Reiner, but
It's good.
I can't see my list without this card.
Yeah, especially after I made a video a while back, like an intro to Rhinar whatever video, where I went like right really deep into the blood rush curve, and it was like I always kind of knew how important the math was, but it wasn't until like I really laid it all out that we are basically every time we play blood rush with claws, we are playing perfect math. It has to be like exactly perfect. If you're missing one
Yeah,
resource, the whole thing falls apart, right? Which is why cards like this and Beast Within and Tunic are so important for your blood rushes because if you draw like one extra red or one extra non-blue, you lose 5 damage.
yeah,
And that's just not acceptable when that's our best card and it's the only thing that we do pretty good, you know? So yeah, and I don't mind putting this in Arsenal. It's a good Arsenal target. It's like it's good for Blood Rush. It does the 18. Savage
yeah.
Feast is my favorite card in Rhinar. Uh, what do you think of Savage Feast?
At first, I have I'm not sure about this card
Mm,
because sometimes I put this on Arsenal and I drill a Blood Rush and I have to block with three cards and I can't play anything, or I have to block with two cards
mm,
and I can play the Blood Rush, and this gets stuck in my arsenal.
yeah,
So it's a very powerful card, but also a very dangerous card.
yeah.
Uh, but it when you roll scabs and hit a four or four plus, it's
Mm,
brutal. You can draw a card with the two floating. You can hit with the claws or the attack that you draw.
yep.
So yeah, it's very powerful. But I was thinking about to test with only two
Mm,
and put an extra Cadaver's Contraband in my list.
I can see it. I can see it. This card is like yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like there's sometimes even on blood rushes where it's like incredible. You end a blood rush with this. You have the one floating, you get the draw card, you refill your arsenal, everything's beautiful. Or you go, you get like the Savage Feast, claw, swing, big line, and you just did basically blood rush damage. And then, like you said, sometimes you hold this card and you can't hit a four. Like you roll like three times in a row and you just don't hit a four, and this card just sits there. And eventually you're like,
Yeah.
whatever, I'll just play it raw, and then you know you give up. Okay, and then I think Command and Conquer needs no introduction, right? Pack Hunt, obviously one of our better cards, in my opinion, too. Intimidate means a lot more than people think it does, especially in
Yeah.
end game scenarios, and it does 6 damage, and it has 2 cost, right?
Only playing as Rhinar, you can feel the power of Intimidate.
Yeah.
You can feel in the opponent's face when you intimidate the right card, like the one
Yeah.
that he wants to block.
The moan every time you hit like their one sink below.
Yeah.
And then you're running pulping main board. So what do you think? How did this card treat you over your tournament weekend?
On Nets, Popin lead me to a defeat against the Bravo on top eight. He played extremely well.
Mhm.
He always he was always putting defense reaction in the arsenal so he could shoot off my go again.
Yep.
Uh, and I was very unsure about Popin after the Nets,
Yep.
but I started playing with more. I am more.
Don't worry, man.
Like I started rolling scabs when I need to get an extra action point with Popin.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
So only if I have gamma slows.
Yeah.
So before playing Popin, I roll scabs just to be sure if the opponent has a defense reaction in arsenal, I still get an extra action point. If I don't roll two, or if I don't get two action points from scabs, I just play Popin and pray for it not shutting down my go again. But usually I don't take damage to roll scabs or trust on Popin
Yeah.
go again.
Okay. I I like this card a lot. Like when I played with it recently, I was going a little bit more aggressive. It does some really cool stuff, but it always like rips the totally worst card off the top of my deck. It always happens. I'll have like 2 cards in my hand. I'll draw the third one. It's Blood Rush Bellows. I put my cards down. It disappears. I cry. And
Yeah,
so it's hard. It's hard to play with
yeah,
this one. It's hard.
it's terrible to discard a Blood Rush. I ended up by banishing one Blood Rush playing a Beast Within this weekend. I
Yeah.
almost cried because it was against Bravo.
You
So
can
yeah,
recover, yeah.
uh, yeah.
Ugh.
But Popin you can use against Romai can hit a dragon, so you get a guaranteed go again, and
Yeah,
you
it's true.
can like with a blow in Popin you can hit the mirror guy and cloud the passing mirage. So it's very
That's
powerful
true.
card.
That's a good point. Yeah, against especially because it's about to be Dromai season for sure. There's going to be
Yeah.
Dromais everywhere after Lexi leaves. Well, all right. So I mean, that's it. You got your 51 cards, your main deck. You got your 15, your 18, and then the rest of these red ones here, right? But you have a very interesting set of sideboard cards. Very interesting set. So you have 2 alpha rampages, but no red barraging beatdowns, right? So when do you play alpha rampages? Oh wait, you do have red
Against
barraging.
those, yeah, I have two,
Yeah.
and then I play them when I I face some defensive decks like Uzuri, Bravo,
Okay.
those kind of non aggro that wants to block, so they are very powerful, and probably you have the tempo of the game.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So that makes sense. So this is your anti-control, anti-fatigue package. Is these 2 reds?
exactly.
All
Yeah.
right. You got your one Cadaver's Contraband, which I love. I have the same. I love this card so much. Is this just because of Dromai existing?
No, at first, like after losing to the Bravo on top eight of Nets, I started thinking about what I could improve, like trying to get more, trying to fetch my blood rush from the graveyard
Yeah.
somehow, and this card is brutal. So I start testing with three cadaverous and more panels, but end up that I was getting terrible results on Punisher, and it turned on a head flag for me. But I definitely wanted to put some at least one cadaverous contraband because
Yep.
I could hit a dragon and put the blood rush on top.
Yep.
So but I still want to add more because sometimes you draw this early and you don't have a blood rush in the graveyard, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it's
really
an
powerful.
interesting card. A lot. I mean, I play it mostly for Dromai because it's awesome, right? Like you said, you kill Miragai with this, you get your blood rush back. Like that's the best trade in the world, you know.
Yeah,
Um, and then I play it sometimes against like I'll put my one copy in against a couple random aggro heroes because it's like if it lines up, amazing. If it doesn't, it probably doesn't cost me the game. I don't really like two blocks to be honest though. But yeah, I get it. I like this card. I love this card. This card, on the other hand, how did this perform for you? How does Sensor work?
yeah. On Nets, I used three copies of that,
Okay.
but ended up that I thought that was too much, so I removed the one. Uh, I think this card is really good. It fits on Rhinar class because usually you play like a Popin and you have one resource, or you roll scabs and could attack with a six, then a sensor. Or maybe you can roll the dice and play a sensor and then a Cadaverous Contraband because it happened that the Katsu blocked the sensor because he was afraid they won't hit. And then I played the Cadaverous Contraband and he couldn't block, so he put a Blood Rush on top.
Oof. Gross.
And this led me to win the game. So yeah, and also you can just block nine
Tunic?
and do the tunic sensor. It's really powerful. You can sometimes if you are playing against Lexi, you can see the card that's face up on Arsenal. You can name that card, or you can name a power card.
Hmm.
So it's difficult to hit the card that the opponent has on hand, but
Yeah.
if you do, it's the most powerful card in the world because you can shut down a turn just by naming the right card.
Huh. That's really interesting. I'm going to try this. I've heard people talking about this. I mean, at one point, people were talking about like freewheeling Renegade, right? That 1 for 6. Kind of the same thing because like it's all Scabskins math. 1 for 6. I mean, technically it was a 1 for 4 at the end of the day. So this is a one for
Yeah,
five breakpoint that does something, which is probably even stronger. The only downside is it's a 5, right? So
yeah, yeah. I tried. I didn't add this 1 for 6. I added to my Kyle list that I was playing on the local armory,
mm,
but I feel that the power of using sensor, like the threat of its own hit, is brutal. Sometimes the opponent don't know if he blocks or if he just takes the 5. This I think this mind game is insane against the
yeah,
opponent.
it's a hard one. Yeah, because that's like a weird. If somebody threw a sensor at me, I'd be like, man, are they going to be able to guess my card right now? Like, do you think they can do this? You know, like, hmm,
Yeah, like Katsu, you can just name the bonds of ancestry.
yeah,
That card is that's
just turns off
terrible.
a whole combo.
Sometimes, yeah,
Huh?
uh, like you can name a Rain Razor or what is face up on Arsenal, so
Yeah,
it's not that hard to hit a good card.
yeah. Okay, I like this. And then you have 6 D reacts, all 3 fates, all 3 sinks. Um, so you're stacked up on the defensive side of Rhinar. Um, and then you've got Infectious Host, which is a card that I knew some people were testing that they actually had pretty good success with. So how do you feel about this card?
Yeah, this card I use only against Lexi
Mm-hmm.
because of the Codex of Frailty. So sometimes you try to set up a turn to play a Blood Rush, and they finish with a Codex, and you need to discard a card, and like they will hit with endless arrow or
Yeah.
some other on hit. So you can block, like if you have three cards on hand, it's to play the blood rush, the discard one. You can still block three with plus the equipment, and you can play infectious holes from the arsenal that will let your arsenal free to set your blood rush, and you will give your opponent at least a frailty token.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can give a blood rush box and a frailty token with just one card.
Pretty good.
So it's a minimum of six of valor here, because usually flex plays three arrows,
Yep.
so you have non strong turn from
Yeah.
Lexi. By playing this, it will be safe to play your Blood Rush.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I knew some people were testing this card. They had pretty good results with it against Lexi, because, like you said, it kind of comes in for like 0 for 6, 0 for 7, depending on the turn. If you only hit one, then it's the frailty, right? So it makes sense to me, and I dig it. And then your final couple of cards here. You got 2 Arc Smashes, 2 Pummels, and a Remembrance, right? When are you running your Pummels?
Pummels against the control mats, like the mats that wants to block. Sometimes it's just a threat. You play always playing a blow to play a 2 cost attack, and you have 10 up.
Hmm.
So the opponent's always thinking about if the pummel will come. So this helps them to make the worst decision. Like they respecting the discard a card, so they don't block all. So yeah, and sometimes it lets you to pass some damage, to pass the common conquer damage. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a good
but you
one.
don't want to draw this too much, because you don't have that much room to play the pummel, because you want to use your tunic to do blood
Yeah.
rush. So that's a tough decision to put the pummel here.
Yeah. You yeah, and our targets really aren't like amazing, right? Like, I mean, obviously Command and Conquer is the strongest one to hit with it, but we have no other on hits to speak of at all. So it's like it's really you're just playing this card to rip a card out of their hand, and you
Yeah,
probably need to have Tunic to make it worth it, right?
and you have the cadaverous contraband, like against
Cadaverous,
the
yep.
boating. I had a pummel in the arsenal, and I played the cadaverous contraband, but he blocked for 9, because he saw that I had a yellow pummel, and yeah, I was he destroyed my turn.
Salty. That's funny. And then, so real quick, just scanning at like the list. So you have a really low quantity of sixes. Like this is around what I play. I play around 30 to 33. So you're kind of on that tank Rhinar mentality, um, where you're sacrificing a little bit of raw power for consistency, right? Consistency and
Yeah,
defensive. You got 18 blues, 15 yellows, 18 reds, right? So we include your sideboard. You're really just stacking your yellows and your reds as your decision making. No blues swapping in, and you only have 36 reds total in the list, right? So that's really interesting. As far as like, oh, you have a full sideboard guide. Is this up to date?
yeah, it's up to date. I use in the Battle
Oh
Harned
my
and in the
goodness.
last Pro Quest.
You guys at home are lucky. He is a generous human being, a generous person. So we've got a full sideboard guide in here, which is amazing. So you guys are gonna have a great time with this list. I mean, looking at it, this is exactly the style of Rhinar that I like to play. It makes a lot of sense to me. These two decisions are really just. I'm gonna go try Censor after this because I've thought about it, but I just never pulled the trigger because I was too afraid of the 5. Um, but I want to play some mind games. That seems fun. So, do you have any tips and tricks for anybody at home who wants to play this list? Try and be anywhere near as successful as you are.
Uh, yeah, I like playing as Reiner. You can never be uh, you can never take damage to try to roll scabs, unless it depends on to win the game. Like
Yeah.
you are seeing that you don't have a next turn, so you need to trust on scabs to win a game. So besides that, you never roll if you don't have gambler's gloves. It's the
Don't do it.
most difficult decision. Like you really want to like sometimes you block 6 against a 4, because you don't want to play to roll scabs, and this feels like a bad thing to do. But uh, when you play Rhinar often and you roll one, you get used to not roll scab skin, so you need to slow the I just how it's called it.
It's okay.
the,
Need to slow the game down. Need to slow your
not
roll.
the game, the gamble, the so to play as Reinhardt, you need to low as possible the gamble. You don't roll the dice if you don't need to. This is the most powerful thing, and you need to set up your turns to blood rush. So a minimum you have to have tonic up,
Mhm.
but it's common to save a yellow, two yellows to discard. So you have an extra resource if you draw two hands. I do this very often.
Yeah.
So to play a Blood Rush with four card hands, mainly against some aggro decks, if you don't have the time to play two or three Blood Rush, you need to make it as better as possible. So always tunic up, and
Always.
if you can, like save an extra card.
Yep. I mean, there's truer words have never been spoken. I say it every time. It's a gambling hero that punishes you if you gamble too hard, right? So exactly what you said. You need to do one thing and one thing perfectly, and it's play Blood Rush Bellows and get 18 to 20 damage at least 3 times in a game. And if you don't do that, you're not going to win. So you need to do that by having Tunic available, having a blue, and having your yellows to protect you, right?
Yeah, I had games like I started using Remembrance because I had games that I was playing my last Blood Rush and was feeling if I not kill my opponent this game this turn, I will won this game, even like being 20 health against an Icelander.
Yep.
So I start adding Remembrance because you need to get your blood rush bellows back if you don't apply that much damage on those turns.
Yeah. Absolutely true. I beat a bunch of Oldims and a bunch of Bravos with 4 or 5 blood rushes. You know, even Dromais now. Some of those big dragon Dromais, sometimes they tank you out, and you played 3 blood
Yeah,
rushes and they're still alive, and now you're scared. So yeah, remembrance helpful is very helpful also because doing 6 blood rushes is better than doing 3.
maybe seven if you hit the cadavers from the man.
I played, yeah, I was playing against the Dromai at Pro Tour, a really good Dromai player, and you know, I killed him with my 3rd blood rush and an alpha rampage, but he was like, "Oh man, if I would have just had that one D react, I would have won. That was your final one." And I was like, "No, man, I have one cadaverous contraband left. I have one cadaverous, and I would have
Yeah,
gotten my 5th blood rush." Uh, but yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on the channel. I hope I see your name at Worlds. I hope I see your name on plenty more Rhinar lists out in the future. I'm going to be hitting 2024 really hard, right? I want to go win my gold foil flesh bag. And you know what's coming out in January? Possibly some brute stuff. Maybe a new brute
they are
hero.
giving us hope.
Let's hope, man. I'll be there. I'm going to be in New Zealand. And I'm gonna try and steal some product, and I'm gonna try and find out if we can if we're getting a new brute hero early. You know what I mean? I can't wait. I can't wait. So yeah, thanks so much, man. This list is amazing. You're an amazing human. You seem like a really nice guy, and I can't wait to see you get that gold foil. It's coming. It's coming. Maybe the
Yeah,
calling
I
at
hope so.
Worlds. Maybe you could be.
Why not words?
Oh yeah, you can do worlds. I forgot. I was, yeah, you can win worlds too. The worlds is a lot of draft going on there. I don't believe in draft.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm traveling just for fun because I
Oh, you're gonna
I
win.
don't
I
know
believe in
if I
you.
will have the opportunity to play another world. So like maybe I will have a child, or
Oh
maybe
yeah.
I will not classify again.
Oh,
So
you're gonna qualify. This is like You've only been playing
Yeah.
for a year and you're doing this well. You're gonna qualify for every major event. I wouldn't be worried.
Yeah, but never know. It's always there's always good people joining the game.
That's true. That's true.
And I can train as hard as possible. There will be always someone better than you. So yeah.
I believe in you. I know it's gonna happen. I believe in you. All right. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. And thank you so much again for coming on.
Thank you.
Oh, little rock. Adorable. I know that one of the guy who helped me make my dice cup is in Brazil.
Yeah, Breno. I met him yesterday at
Oh.
the ProQuest. He gave me this little rock.
He's the guy I worked with for my dice cup. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, yeah, it's an amazing guy.
All right. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.